So, good day everyone. We will answer my assignment number 4. So, with the given problem referring to figure number 2, which is this one, change RA to zero point 0.2 ohms, RB to zero point 0.3 ohms, RL to zero point 0.5 ohm with the same battery polarities, with AE is equal to 24 volts and EB is 26 volts as shown. So, question is calculate the currents IL, IA, and IB. And question B, the voltage load VL, and question C, the last one is the load and battery powers PL, PE, and PB. So, first thing we should solve using superposition theorem. So, um, first thing to do is redraw the diagram for you to easy to solve. So, um, we in the diagram we close AA, so we will using 26 volts, which is our AB, as our power source. So now we will solve RT from the given diagram. So RT is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3 over R2 plus R3. I mean times, this is multiply. So R1 is 0.3, then plus our R2 is 0.2 times R3 is 0.5 over R2 0.2 plus 0.5 is our R3. So by typing it in a calculator, we will have 31 over 70 ohms. Then next we will compute our I2, partial I2. Since we are using one power supply, so it is partial, so it will become I2 is equal to AB over RT. So substitute 26 over our RT is 31 over 70. So it will, by typing in calculator, it will become a 1820 over 31 ampere, partial I2 na. So next thing is I3, partial I3. So I2 is equal to R2 over R2 plus R3. So that one equal to substitute 1820 over 31. So multiplied by 0.2, 0.2 plus our R3 is 0.5. So it will answer 520 over 31 ampere. So partial. So next thing is I1. I1, partial I1 is equal to I2 R3 over R2 plus R3. So that one. And it will be equal to, substitute, our I2 is 1820 over 31 times R3 is 0.5, then R2 is 0.2 plus R3 is 0.5. So solve in a calculator, it will answer 1300 over 31 ampere. So we are done with the our procedure number 1. So we will proceed to procedure number 2, which is using EA, or the 24 volts, as our power source. So last time we used, in our power source we used 26 volts, which is our AB. So this time we will use our EA, which is 24 volts. So solve for RT. RT is R1 plus R2 R times R3 over R2 plus R3. So solve. See the difference, 0.2 plus 0.3 times 0.5 over 0.3 plus 0.5. So it will be equal to 31 over 30. I mean 80. So next thing we should solve is partial I1 in power source 24 volts. So it will have AA is over RT. So which is equal to 24 over 31 divided by 8. So it will result 1920 over 31 ampere. So you can directly solve it in the decimal point, but I prefer to use fractions. So next is I2, partial I2. So I1, then R3 over R2 plus R3. So it will equal to 1920 over 31 times 0.5, 0.3 plus 0.5. So it will have 1200 over 31 ampere partial. Yeah, next thing is I3. So our I3. So for partial I3, so I1 R2 over R2 plus R3. So substitute, it will have 1920 over 31 times 0.3 over 0.3 plus 0.5. So it will have 720 over 31 ampere. So now we will use those partial I1, I2, and I3 to solve for IA, IB, and IL. So let us consider IA our I1, and IB will be equal to our I2, which is our I2, and IL, which is our I3. So let us solve IA, which is equal to I1 prime, or I1 partial I1 minus I1 partial I1. So 1920 minus 1300 over 31. So it will have 620 over 31 or 20 ampere. So this is our IA. Then IB, let's solve for IB. So it will be equal to I2, partial I2 minus our partial I2 in 26 volts. So it will have 18,820 minus 1200 over 31. So it will equal to 620 over 31, which is equal to 20 ampere. So that one. Then solve for IL. Our IL is equal to I3, our partial I3 in 26 volts and partial I3 in um ay this positive. So in I3 we use positive or addition because the flow of a current is always going down. So in I1, in power source 1 and power source 2, we have the same flow of current, so it will be addition. So 720 plus 520 over 31 is equal to 1240 over 31, or equal to 40 ampere. So solve for VL, so it will have VL is equal to EA minus IA RA, then equal to substitute 24 minus 20 times 0.2 will be equal to 20 volts. So this is our VL. Solve for PL. So P is equal to I squared R. So 12 PL is equal to IL squared RL. So substitute 40 squared 0.5. So it will have 800 watts. Then PA is IA squared RA. So it will result 20 squared times 0.2. It will have 80 watts. So this is our PA. PB is equal to IB squared RB. So it will have 20 squared 0.3. Then it will result 120 watts. So that's all for our superposition theorem.